we are kicking it off with our fancy new Ladies' Night Dice Tower. I'm greedy and I never get enough interview time to squeeze in all of my questions. So this dice tower forces me to come up with 8 questions and roll the die only 3 times, and at least start with that.
Okay.
To try to keep myself contained a little. So you're gonna have to trust me rolling myself. A 2 is what we're calling never again. What is something you did for a roll that makes you say, I'm glad I did it, but never again?
Use my own hair. You let them use my hair. Oh, it was painful. The spray, the dye, the fry, the everything. You come out bald headed.
Next one up. We got an 8. I like the serious craft questions. You're getting a lot of my silly ones right now. This is a would you rather question. Would you rather have to fake sneeze or fake vomit in a scene?
Sneeze.
Can you do a convincing fake sneeze? You knew what was going there.
I didn't know you were gonna go there, but you saw me try to practice. Like, would I like that better? Okay. That looked like I just threw a bunch of shit up. Oh, God.
You had a winner there. I would have believed that.
The truth is, my sneeze is way more aggressive and devastating in real life. So that was my cute, sneeze.
All right, number 3. 6 is, I like this one. It's an MCU question. What is the best piece of advice you got about first joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
To have fun. I think, when I got it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's exciting. But then there's also, it can be very daunting and it's huge. And so a good friend of mine, Anthony Mackie, I'll just say, yes, our Captain America, he was like, make sure you have fun. Have fun. It's good. It's a good time, good people, have fun.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Collider Ladies Night. I have another WandaVision guest on the show, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. Teyonah Parris. Hello. How is everything?
I am doing amazing. Excited to be joining you tonight.
I'm going to have you assemble a dream team here. I got 3 questions to figure this out. First one is, you get the opportunity to live in the TV show of your choice. What show do you pick and why?
I don't know, like where I would want to live it. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that has other implications, but the Cosby Show. I love what that was for the African-American community, and it feels pretty safe to be Black in that space, and like a wonderful, loving environment. So I would say, yeah.
Where would you want your character to fit in?
Okay, can I be young like Raven Simone was, and I get to be like her cousin or something, Olivia's cousin.
Now building your little dream team here, you can take 3 other co-stars with you and cast them in the roles of your choice. Who are you taking with you and why?
From WandaVision. Okay, Paul's gotta come. Who is Paul gonna be? Paul's gonna be one of Theo's friends. Catherine can come, and she's gonna be like a co-worker of my mom's, Felicia Rashad's, the character. Freaking, it's just lost my head. But anyways, Lizzie can be one of my playmates, me and Olivia. She can hang with us. Was that everybody? Or
you got 3. You can add more if you want.
Oh, I'm like, because I have to have like Kat and Randall. Oh, we have to come up with something good. I don't know. I give up. Okay. I got 3. But I would want them all in the world with me.
Understandable. All right. We're going to start with some credits here, and we're going to go with your very first TV credit. I know you had made some shorts before The Good Wife, but is there anything about that particular show that, looking back, makes you say, I'm so glad that my first major TV appearance was that show with those people?
I mean, yeah, it was the best show, one of the best shows on television. And for me to have booked a role, and I just remember how excited I was. And there was a possibility that they were like, we might bring her back for another episode. And I just remember praying so hard, maybe they'll bring her back. It never happened. But yeah.
You have so many other film titles I want to hit, but we only have so much time here. So maybe having worked with some of the best as far as feature film directors go, I mean, Spike Lee, Barry Jenkins, Justin Simien, I can go on and on. Is there anyone whose approach to directing their actors is right in line with the way you like to work, made you feel so comfortable right out the gate? And then on the other side, is there anyone who had a wildly different approach and challenged you to adapt, and maybe for the better?
The challenging one was when I worked with Spike, I had to grow immensely and quickly. That was my first time being a lead on a film. And so I was working with trying to craft an entire arc, because it wasn't just one scene or two scenes, but from the beginning of a movie to the end. And the script was also in verse and in rhyme. And so there were just a lot of elements. And then you have Spike, who is very particular and like, not just do it like this. And I'm like, wait, my process, I have to think about it in this way. And just like, there was dancing that was thrown on me day of in 6-inch heels and things like that, where I had to just say, I just got to focus in and do it, because ultimately what matters is what I can put in front of that camera. So Spike definitely made me grow up quick, fast, and get myself together. It was a wonderful introduction into what it is and what it may take to be a leading lady. And then with the director who I felt just spoke to my soul as an actor, I loved working with Ali Leroy. I got the opportunity to work with him on Survivor's Remorse. And just when you're on a show, like an episodic, you know, you get different directors and they come in and they have their ideas of what they want to do. And most of it doesn't have anything to do with the actors. But with Ali, I felt like he cared so much about the arc of each of these individual characters and what they needed and what was actually happening between the two humans. And I just remember feeling so safe, artistically safe with him, and excited to talk about the work and to try new things. And he was really, really, it's emblazoned in my heart and in my soul and in my artistic spirit. Like, he was wonderful to work with.
I love hearing about folks making that kind of impression. Getting into the audition process of it all here, I was wondering, given the level of the secrecy when it comes to the MCU, at what point in the audition process do you find out exactly who you're up to play and what they're about? Is it the kind of situation where you do get a sense of it right out the gate, or are they even giving you sides that, you know, don't pertain to what you really ended up doing at all?
The latter. I was given sides that ultimately were a version of the scene between Geraldine and Wanda with the stork and like all of those things happening, Wanda's water breaking and those sorts of things. When my agent calls and says, hey, we want you to put this MCU Marvel audition on tape, you have a very specific idea of what that will look like. Because I put many Marvel things on tape over the last decade. So when I got it, I was like, I don't understand this. I thought you said something with Marvel. And they're like, no, that's it. I'm like, well, I don't understand. And then I thought I was like, I'm just doing too much. And then the notes that the director had given was, it's okay to do too much. We realize, you know, it's okay to have this stylized idea, whatever. And I was like, okay. So I did it. I let it go. Part of my process is, once you do an audition, once I do one, it's done. It is what it is. I have to let it go spiritually and for my mental health, right? So like weeks later, it came back and my agent was like, Shauna said, oh, you know, that Marvel thing you went in for, it's looking really good. And I was like, no. She's like, remember the weird thing? I was like, oh, okay, right. Okay, tell me more. And then so she was like, it looks like you got the part. I was like, oh my gosh, what's the part? Still don't know what the part is. Don't know the project, don't know anything. And they were like, hold on, let me call you back and find out. She calls back. He's like, the little girl from Captain, she didn't even say it before I said, don't tell me it's Monica Rambeau. And she was like, yeah, Monica, the little girl from Captain Marvel. I flew off the handles. So excited.
So let's get into some specifics here. I have a very specific beat I want to ask you about from episode 3. The moment where Wanda first says to, I guess, Geraldine at the time, that she had a twin, because we get a pretty long, no dialogue reaction shot from you where we very much see the wheels in Monica's head turning. So what are the specifics or the guideline maybe from getting her to go from like twin triggered something to actually uttering the word Ultron?
Freaking Ultron. Like, did that come out of your mouth, bruh? I will say that whole element of how much are they under? How much can Monica process while in this bubble? That was always a very delicate dance. And I was always in conversation with, or in constant conversation with Matt about like, hey, is it, where are we in the storytelling with that aspect of it? For the breakthrough that Monica had to have had in order to lucidly and say that thing, it was just very quick, but it happened. And it's definitely like a record scratch. Like, what? That doesn't fit. Something is not right. And then trying to figure out like, oh, when Monica recovers, when Geraldine recovers, is that Monica recovering or is that Geraldine? Just trying to figure out the specifics of each moment,
Here's a power thing I think you can answer, and it's going to sound kind of silly, but
Okay.
what was it like figuring out Monica's superhero landing pose? That's such an iconic thing in any superhero movie, and she does it multiple times in this, and I feel like I see her getting stronger at it every time she does it.
First of all, let's talk about superhero landings and takeoffs. Watching Paul and Lizzie perfect what in real life looks pretty odd, like it's very odd looking, but watching them, it's so amazing. Like watching them just do it like it's a part of normal, like I don't know how to explain this, but they just do it. They do something with their body and their legs and their feet, and then they start the scene, right? So I watch them like, okay, I see, okay, maybe I could try something like this. But then with Monica's landing in front of Wanda's yard, it was an interesting thing because me, Jack, Matt, and Mary went back and forth about how much could Monica control what was happening to her at each point in her journey. And so we felt there were different iterations of what that was, but what it ultimately became was she's gathered herself. She can, to some degree, contain, like Wanda's has been throwing her around all season. And in this moment, she can fight back in a sense, and that's just to protect herself. So she lands instead of being thrown, like we've seen a couple of times. And so it was like, what is the story here? And then once we figured out the story is she's got some handle on it, on this energy being thrown at her. Then I was like, let me work on this. Let me work on this landing here.
All right. We always end Ladies' Night with the same 2 questions. First one is, can you name someone who is changing this industry for the better?
Michaela Cole. I'm such a fan of her work. It's just edgy. It's beautiful. It's raw. I'm a fan.
Last one here. It's a heavy one. You could take it in a lighter direction if you prefer. What is the biggest fear that you've ever had that you've actually managed to overcome?
I try not to operate in the space of fear. Like, even if it comes up, like changing the language around it so that it doesn't manifest into a full-fledged fear. You know, I mean, I'm not afraid of heights. I was going to say like I jumped out of an airplane, but I'm not afraid of heights. It was scary, but it's not a fear.
I actually really respect that non-answer to it though. Like I feel like that's probably a better way to look at answering this question in general. I mean, it really is an answer to the question. It's an approach for overcoming something that could be a fear.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. Yes.
I like that very much. And I also love that you went skydiving.
I did. Cool. As soon as I got my degree, my mom said I could go because I tried to go in college and she was like, no. And then she said, when I get my degree, which was my degree, she said it was hers. But anyways, she said I could go. And so I went and I jumped and I don't think I'll do it again. I would, because when you're actually coming down, it's actually so very peaceful. It is so beautiful. But getting up there to jump, that's no thanks. The scariest part was the little ass plane, because I don't know why in my mind I thought I was getting on like JetBlue and nice smooth ride up and then I was gonna jump out. Oh no, it was like a prop plane with no damn door. It had a door, but it's just shaking, and I'll sit, no chairs, and I'm huddled in the corner like, what did I get myself into? Then the door slams open and I just remember seeing my best friend go, shoo. I said, never mind. Oh gosh, but I did it. So
Teyonah, I have kept you way past our time. Huge congratulations on WandaVision and everything else. And thank you so much for hanging out with us on Ladies Night.
Thank you so much. Bye, you guys.